In today's fast-paced real estate landscape, success demands more than surface-level expertise. It requires insight, adaptability, proven strategies, discipline, and the ability to take risk. The Agent Brew podcast blends candid conversations with wisdom from industry leaders who've walked the path before you. Think of us as your strategic pit stop to fuel your real estate journey. From the crossroads of the world, in the heart of Times Square, welcome to Agent Brew, a podcast that percolates real estate insights. I'm your host, Eric Zollinger of Realty Co. Welcome to our viewers and listeners to Season 2, We Continue. Today, we have a special guest, Scott Elwell of Douglas Elliman Real Estate. Scott is the regional leader who is overseeing the expansion of the Michael Lorber Team into the Greenwich, Connecticut suburb area. Welcome, Scott. Good to see you.
Eric, good to see you. How's it going?
Great, thanks. We've known each other for quite some time. And now we happen to know one another even better because of Briggs, your brother.
Yeah, it's funny.
Full disclosure, yes, the Elwell name kind of travels. So Briggs, I worked with at Related, and Scott, I worked with at Elliman, and we got to spend some great time together in Hawaii in the Four Seasons.
Yeah, with Forbes.
So why don't we get started? Can you share with us your elevator pitch? What is your business today?
I represent, the Greenwich, Connecticut suburb area. And, I've got licenses in both New York and Connecticut. And, I'm here to sort of promote our area of sales. And that's buyers coming in, buyers staying in, and sellers, promoting their listings. But, from a sales standpoint, that's my territory. That's what I represent. I'm sure we'll talk about it, but I just sort of joined a big team in the city and, leading the expansion of that team's presence out here.
Great. Well, why don't we get started with that? Because that will then color all of our remaining conversation on how did you get to this point? Because you've had a stunning career as far as the different roles that you've had the opportunity to hold. And let's talk about Michael Lorber.
Yeah, Michael, the Michael Lorber Team, which is Michael Lorber and Alex Bariskin. They've got a fantastic team in the city that is, one of the best in the business. And I'm working with them and expanding their presence out here. And, their client base has been very New York City centric, out to the Hamptons, Florida. And they've obviously had a lot of business coming out here, but we're sort of solidifying that presence.
I just have to say, Michael and Alex, I worked with them with DEDM and just really incredible group of guys that just work really hard. And I mean, they're constantly pounding the pavement and they don't rest on past laurels. It's all about, continuing to achieve. So congratulations on aligning with them and really being that foundation in the burbs.
I talked to a lot of different teams in the city. I built up teams out here that have been sort of autonomous, and this worked best for me. And I'm pretty excited about it.
Okay. So this is where you are now. How long have you been in real estate?
I mean, I've been in real estate my entire career. So I graduated college, Trinity, in 2001. I worked for Greenpoint Financial, for those that remember that company, selling whole loans on Wall Street. And this is 0103. Business school in Wisconsin, focused on real estate, got my MBA. Worked for Clarion Partners, ING Real Estate, portfolio management, big stuff. And then got into residential, specifically out here about 16 years ago.
So why real estate?
Why real estate? I mean, I just sort of fell into it. I mean, I guess it's sort of two questions. Why residential and why real estate? We can give the obvious. Everyone loves real estate, the houses you live in and all of that. My brain just sort of works that way. And, I'm not a desk job, 9-to-5 person. I'm sort of more out and about, a little more entrepreneurial. And it's one of those businesses that's worked well for me, residential specifically.
Yeah. So you had some finance background there too. So was it something that, were you able to take, did you start from scratch when you came into residential real estate, or were you able to be armed with a book of business or connections prior to coming in?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I came from commercial. So why don't we make it, commercial 16 years ago and then switch into residential. And, residential, they do apply to each other. They're very different on a valuation standpoint. I mean, very different. Commercial is a lot easier to me. I mean, it's a lot more mathematical. You got cash flows, you've got expectations. Residential is much more of a gut feeling. And, especially out here. it's an emotional purchase. It's much more hands-on. You've got to live and feel the environment. There's not a ton of good data on it, which is infuriating, but also a lot of fun.
Wow. So any mentors that you'd like to speak of that really helped shape your career?
Well, when I started off, I mean, I think most people start off on a team or helping somebody else out. And, there's a woman, Sally Maloney, that I really started in the beginning. And there are a lot of people that I learned off of, and I really followed their lead. And one of them is actually David Ogilvy, who unfortunately is no longer with us. But Elliman occupies his office right now, which is pretty neat.
Got
And
it.
so he was around forever. We grew up with him. My parents knew him. And, we actually were in the office that he owned and ran for a long time.
So has it always been Elliman for residential for you?
No, it hasn't. I was at Sotheby's prior. And, that's where I started the Fieldstone group and brought it over to Elliman for a lot of different reasons. And Elliman was a natural environment for teams and a huge proponent of the team structure. And that's sort of what led us to it. And, a series of funny little events. And I mean, I think that's a common scenario in my industry.
Right. So, what would you say are there any particular wins that you're most proud of, and why?
Yeah, I think it's really building the teams. And, I've had essentially two different jobs at Elliman. I've worked on teams. One was the Fieldstone group that we brought over that turned into my team. And then I was regional management so I was, executive regional vice president for Westchester and then up through Boston. And that was a lot of fun.
I think that's when I originally met you is around 2015 is when I joined Elliman DEDM.
Okay.
And then, but I knew you before that. I'm sure I did.
Well, I'm sure it was names and flying around. And, I think I was looking up my entrance into Elliman, which is about 11 years ago. So I'm sure that we overlapped a little bit. And, DEDM, when I was regional and I ran up in Boston, it was, we had a lot of interaction with your side, so to speak. And, it's not a boring industry, I'll say that.
No, it's not. I think that's one of the things that brought me so much joy is that it was different every single day. You woke up and you didn't know what to expect, quite frankly. Right. And it was something new that was always stressful. Because if you want to have a stressful job, you can find it in residential, right? Because there's always somebody worrying about something. So
it's hard to be precise. I mean, that's my big thing. I mean, coming from commercial, it's very hard to have exact numbers and have exact wins. And that's today more applicable than ever. And, finding the pricing and what something's going to close for is nearly impossible.
So you mentioned a win are building these teams. What would you say is the greatest challenge in today's landscape for being part of a team or running a team?
Personalities. I mean, it's finding the right people. And I'm dead serious. It's, when you're running an office and you're regional, you're adding people. It's a little more high level and, everyone does their own thing. And that's really exciting. You're helping individuals. When you're on a personal team, I'm very picky of who we work with and who meshes and who doesn't. And it's not always just, it's sort of like a hockey team. It's not always just who does the best. It's okay, who works well together. Because we've got a pretty stressful job, and so you want to know who do I want to be hanging out with all day long?
Right, and who can you count on?
Yeah, absolutely, same thing.
It's almost like every team is its own little hive, right? That
absolutely
every worker bee has their potential job that they must go and go get the pollen and make their portion of of the jelly, I guess, as they say, to take back to the queen. So.
Well, and teams out here are relatively new. I mean, when we started when we started the Fieldstone group, I want to say 12, 13 years ago, it was the first big team in Greenwich. And it was something new to Sotheby's. It was something new to sort of the whole environment. And now there are a fair bit of them, but most agents still are fairly autonomous.
Well, I mean, listen, when I started in 1999 at 25 years old, I was a junior agent. I wasn't even on the website because that just wasn't done at the time. There were no teams. It's before, teams was never even in the lexicon of residential. So it's just fascinating to see how much the industry has pivoted and really slice up another piece of the pie that when you look at it, because now what was always the big brokerage is now kind of that team, depending on how big the team is. So how big is your team? And are you you mentioned that you're leading the expansion. So are you the lead person then over other agents, or are you just then manning this whole territory by yourself, which is
I mean,
pretty.
we are brand new. We announced a week ago, and
Yeah, you
so
did.
this is. I mean, it's me right now. I've got a couple people I'm talking to. We're
Okay.
definitely looking to add people very sort of strategically through. I'm based in Greenwich, which is sort of, if you look at Fairchester, as I call it, all Fairfield and Westchester, it's kind of in the center. And for those of you who don't know it, we're about 45-minute MTA commute from Manhattan, from Grand Central, and the region extends from, call it, Larchmont up to Fairfield, Connecticut. And so I'm looking for people all through the region to sort of cover all the bases. And whether it's somebody my level, whether it's somebody new, I don't really care right now.
What would you say are the three qualities that you're looking for? If you just had to say, okay, here's what I'm looking for. So if somebody today is listening to this, hey, I think I should give a call because I have these attributes and qualities. What would you say you're most looking for?
Don't add stress to us. I mean, we have enough of it with our clients, with the other side, and whether it's buyers or sellers. But I mean, the first thing is, on the phone, is it somebody that we can work hard together, and we can go through big stuff, and just don't add stress. We've got enough of it. And so, I mean, that's my big thing. And then obviously willing to learn, hardworking, knows a certain area if that's what we need. I mean, right now, I'm specifically looking for people north and east, well, all directions, except for south. That's the water. But don't add stress, willing to learn. If you've got a book of business, that's fantastic, and that's normally what people are looking for. I'm not, and I want this to grow a little bit more organically. I want it to, be people that we work well together, because that to me is very important. And I've seen teams in our region that are massive. I've seen teams that are small. I've sort of seen a lot of different scenarios that work and don't. And for me, it's just, you can't be somebody that adds stress. You got enough of that.
Right. So then, since you've put several teams together and it's what your forte has been, what would you say? What is that secret sauce? Yes, don't add stress. But when an agent is coming to you new and they're in a new market and they're just trying to grow and learn, what would you say? What is that one marketing piece, or what is that habit that you recommend that is tried and true, or for the most part is going to help an agent succeed?
Be confident, but put your ego at the door. I mean, it's sort of be willing to do anything. And, that's one thing I've learned from a lot of people. And I mean, David Ogilvy is top of mind. He would do rentals on a Sunday afternoon. And this is the biggest agent in Greenwich history, I think I can say confidently. So just roll up your sleeves, put the ego at the door, but still be confident in what you can do.
Right.
And don't answer questions you don't know the answer to.
I was just about to say, but make sure you don't answer a question if you don't know. I guess that was one of my first things I ever learned. And I have no problem saying I don't know, but I'll find out.
Yeah, absolutely. And people get their, I mean, and I've had to deal with this on management side. I've had to deal with all sorts of issues and all sorts of promises, and, use the word I think a lot. Use the, I'm not certain, but, and, your clients will much rather hear that than you having to backtrack a week later.
And if you make a mistake, nobody's perfect. Own up to it.
Just say it immediately. Just, come on.
Yeah. I remember one instance when I had my own company, I messed up. We were doing a rental, and it was at the Caledonia, of course, and two of my owners, and I had somebody missigning one particular thing, and I'm like, you know what? That's me. I'm sorry. And she just looked at me. She goes, "You just owned up to a mistake?" I go, "You obviously don't know me very well, because yes, I do." But she was shocked at the fact that, an agent was saying, not trying to blame somebody else. And I'm like, no, so we'll go get it signed. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. So you can work through things, and it's all about, I guess it's mindset.
Yeah.
Ultimately. So we talked about the win and your building teams. If we take it to the flip side, a transformational loss, have you had any of those, or things in your career that really didn't go and you had to pivot, and then it ended up ultimately being a win?
Yeah, I mean, the hardest thing for any agent is to lose business you thought you had, and to have your friends go somewhere else. And and that's brutal for the first couple of years. I'm sort of numb to it now.
I mean, it's brutal even after you've been doing it 20 years, right? It's almost
it's always brutal, and you see agents get all ripped, but infuriated. You see agents I mean, everything I've seen. I think not. I mean, nobody's seen everything. So, but you got to just suck it up and go, and then remember those times that you got business that you didn't think you were going to get.
right.
And I've had a fair bit of business from friends' parents in Greenwich, and I was born and raised here, so I know the area very well. And a lot of these are clients that know 15 agents. And one reason they've gone with me is they're like, Scott, it's easier to just go with you and tell all my friends I went with you because you're not in that group. And so I've gotten a lot of business that way, and that's fantastic. But on the flip side, I've had very close friends that have gone elsewhere, and you just have to breathe and think, okay, maybe they didn't want to talk about their finances, maybe what for whatever reason. And we had I had a deal like that the other day, and I thought I had it, but I didn't, and you just gotta go with it. I mean, manage your stress. That's the hardest part.
I guess because we're in this business, sometimes we become immune. But when you lose those listings, or if you're in new development and you happen to lose a project, which is the worst. But when you look at some of the titans, Louis Sunshine, Susan DeFronta, and Kelly Mack, nobody wants to lose them. But let's look at their track record. Everybody has lost a fair portion because things don't sell. But it's like, are you focusing on, I just lost that? No, look at Frederick Eklund and John Gomes. They've done more projects than any other agent. But they probably lost more than any other agent too. But they don't let that bother them. They move on. They reap the success and what they learned from that project, and they use it to make them stronger on the next. So
I didn't mean to talk about him today that much, but David Ogilvy's big saying was, I send the bigger orchid to the client I lost. And I thought that was interesting. And I mean, I've yet to do that, but I gather he sent these massive orchids to clients that went elsewhere, and he said, best of luck. And so that was his mindset.
Taking the higher ground really, really it's a choice, but it helps you move on. So Scott, I mean, I know you work a lot, and because a true agent's work is never done, and you're always working. But how do you manage the stress? Do you have anything outside of work that you tend to do? Like, is there sports, or is there a hobby?
Yeah, either on the golf course or on the water. And so, those are my two big things. I mean, either just get out of the house, get out of the office. We're fortunate enough to have a little boat that we go on the water a fair bit. And, I talk to clients. This Saturday, I'm going to be talking about the boat, which applies to lifestyles out here, or on the golf course. I mean, for me, it's just get into a new physical atmosphere.
Right. So where do you see yourself, say, in 5 to 10 years?
I hate that question.
I don't normally use it, but I'm like, so how do we talk about the future? Because, how do you see yourself in the future?
No, I mean, hopefully we build up this team out here and be around good people that have sort of calmed me down, but energized, and it's not a sales pitch where I'm looking for good people out here.
Yeah.
And, and it's an energy thing. So hopefully we built up a good group that's just humming along. We're promoting the Greenwich area and then Fairchester. And so we're doing a couple things and trying to build up a website that's going to help promote it. We want to sell this area and sell to you guys in the city. So
so it's about timing, right? And perhaps before November, you're ramping up and you're going to get very busy. So not to get too political, we're just reading the tea leaves as we see them as they're falling. So, you just have to be prepared for market conditions and impactful events that really can change your career.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not touching politics. I don't. I'm in the fortunate seat that it's just like, come on out here, give us a call. And for whatever reason you want to leave the city, it's been happening for ages. 150
people
years
come
ago,
and people go, right? It's like, okay, it's going to be fine.
No, you move out here. You got bigger space. We're cheaper on a per square foot. We have land and lawns and all that fun stuff. And so, land, lawn, hills, water. So you name it.
So Scott, let's play the gratitude game. Now, the gratitude game is rose, thorn, bud. But because we are the agent brew here, we like to have it with a twist of coffee. So it is the aroma, when you're grinding the beans first thing in the morning, what gets you out of bed. It's the actual brew that sustains you. What is your why? And then we have the thorn in your side. No, it's the coffee grinds because they spill and they get everywhere. And then the fresh beans it's the bud. So the aroma.
Okay.
What gets you out of bed in the morning?
I mean, honestly, it's waking up and either there's something I got to deal with, and something I couldn't deal with at 11 o'clock the previous night, and I had a laundry list of trauma and stuff of that nature. I mean, that's our job. You never know. Or it's just it's an exciting day and a good feeling, and weather I think has a big impact on me, and what's happening are my daughter's school in session, which makes my life a lot easier to structure, or is it August and everyone's running around with their head
right?
It's most of the time, frankly, getting out of bed is I got to deal with something. But what energizes me is when we always have 14 things on the plate, and if 8 of them or more than half of them are good things, great. And or I just figured out a massive problem that's been in the back of my head. Stuff of that nature.
All right. So the brew, that first cup, it's it sustains you, it gets you really going and going through the day. But one might say it's what is your why? And why do you do all this?
I mean, I don't think it's conscious, but it is the personalities and dealing with different people. And I'm a people person, and I like personalities, even if I don't jive with them. It's trying to figure out those little problems and all the different personalities that I got to cross paths with. I think that's my why. I'm less conscious about it, a little more reactive than I want to be. But I think that a good day is, oh wow, I saw 12 different people and I overlapped. Traditionally a bad day is, I didn't have a lot of interaction.
Got it. So then, is there anything causing you frustration right now? Any little obstacles that you're trying to work through?
I need inventory. I got plenty of buyers. I need inventory. I mean, on its face, that's my biggest issue right now.
I guess the question is then, how can you rectify that? I mean, besides, knocking on every door and saying, hey, I have a buyer for your house. What do you think would be something that could move the needle and get more inventory for you?
I think it's working with the buyers that we have and managing expectations. And, the buyers I empathize with, because their budgets, whatever they are, you're going to get a little bit less than you would a year ago. And so it's really working with the buyers because, frankly, there is inventory out there. It's just priced a little higher than you might want.
It's outside of their comfort level.
And be ready to dive immediately. And, I have new clients that are coming out this weekend and trying to, there's a house they're really excited about that has a full price offer today. And I'm not making that up. And so you're going to have to move a little faster than you want, come a little higher than you want. And so it's my job to figure out how to manage those expectations. There's nothing I can do on the inventory side. I mean, there's nothing I can do. And this is a problem we're having right now. And maybe 2 years from now, we won't. But it's more managing the buy side.
Great. So the last part, what are you looking forward to? Like, what is blossoming? What are the fresh beans that you're most looking forward to? Is there a new exclusive? Is there, I mean, I guess obviously it's the team. You just started, in a new area, or I guess it's your old area, but a new alignment. And tell us more about that.
No, I mean, I'm looking forward to working with Michael and Alex and, in the city, Alexander. And I'm looking forward to, traditionally, I've had a lot of contacts in the city and there have been local teams out here that we work with everybody in Manhattan. I'm looking forward to having a more proper alignment. And I think that'll benefit our sellers because I can take their listings and really plug it into the city, not just talk about it. And I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. Fortunately, you're talking to me right now. It just announced it. It's been a long time coming because of Connecticut licenses and all that fun stuff. But I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes.
Nothing ever launches when you want it to, right? It's like a new development. We always say, oh, it's going to be January, February. Leslie Wilson would always say, September.
Yeah.
September.
Listen to Leslie. She knows what she's doing.
So I guess you built up and you've created to be part of this team because you've been senior management a very long time, really being that the orchestrator, the maestro. and now you get to go out and flex and be the real estate agent and the boots on the ground. What do you prefer most?
I think I prefer this. I mean, the management and a ton of different agents, that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of, whack-a-mole drama. This, I could be a little bit more precise and,
Yeah.
find out, okay, who are the people? This takes a little longer. This is obviously a little bit more, involved on a person-to-person basis. And, I'm excited to see where it goes and, what are the hurdles that we have. I mean, this is a hard time to be doing this, but I think it's going to be fun. On a bigger scale, it's obviously exciting because you're traveling a lot more. I'm fortunate that I don't really have to go anywhere. I can stay here and dig my heels in. But I used to be in Boston at least once a week. I used to be in Rhode Island and, New York City, and I'll be in the city probably once a week now, but, I'm staying in my own bed the whole time.
Got it. So being a real estate agent gives you somewhat more of a flexible schedule and flexibility to really go out there and make the magic happen. So I think you might have heard of this company called Realty Co. And we, we provide the benefits and support system for agents. So is there anything in your business right now that you're struggling with that you think we might be able to help you with, or at least talk through that Realty Co. could add as a service?
I mean, right. Obviously, I've heard of Realty Co. from inception. And I think the best thing, and, the alignment with Elliman is fantastic. And, the emails that I'm getting and everything that's direct with us, I love it. And it keeps, the one thing that you're probably not thinking of very often is it keeps it top of mind. And like, oh, I got to deal with my taxes. I got to, which right now it's right before October 15th. No agent does their taxes on time. It's stuff of that nature. And so it's just keeping it top of mind. And, the alignments you guys have are fantastic. And, I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. So, yeah.
Well, I just want to do give it a little push because Realty Co. is the fuel behind this podcast. And anybody that's listening out there, please feel free to reach out because I'd love to share with you how we really partner with all of our agents and take them to the next level to be the success that they can be. So the last part of the podcast, if you could give your young agent self, Scott, a piece of advice, not someone young today, but in all of your time, what would you say to the young Scott Elwell?
Just stay confident. I mean, it's somewhere in between you're too down or you're too confident or cocky. But for me specifically, it's just stay confident. And, those hurdles, those frustrations, they'll pass. I think I got in a pretty good mindset early about losing business you thought you had, because I was able to get business I didn't think I had. But it is that stay confident and stay on track. The biggest thing I've learned is if you look at the top 10, 20 agents in my area, they're all similar and they're all driven and they're all smart, but they're completely different in personalities. You can have extremely polished and you can have just absolutely crazy that are successful. So you got to just do it your way. And, I think, don't mimic people that are different than you, find people that are similar and, and learn from them. But for me, just stay confident and keep going, head down and keep going. If it's a hurdle, don't let it sink, sit on you too long.
So I always, I have several quotes that I put on a note card, thinking before I go through the exercise of hearing your agent journey. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to choose through these and I'll be able to decide at the end. So for your motivational quote for your episode of Agent Brew, Mr. Scott Elwell, the biggest risk is not taking any risk. In a world that is changing quickly, the only strategy that is guaranteed to fail is not taking risks. And that is Mark Zuckerberg. I thought that was similar in line of what you were just talking about. And it's like, you just have to stick at it. And there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. You just got to keep moving forward.
Well, I love it. Perfect.
So Scott, thank you so much for being a guest on Agent Brew. We've been trying to work this in for quite some time. So congratulations on the new team alignment with the Michael Lorber team and being the regional lead in Greenwich, Connecticut.
Well, I'm glad we have something to announce. I mean, that's why it's taken a little bit.
Well, we wish you tremendous success and continued success. We hope you'll come back and visit us again, perhaps in person, and maybe I'll see you at the Endeavor. But to our viewers and listeners, thank you for spending another Agent Brew with us. We hope you'll come back for future episodes. We look forward to seeing you. And I'm Eric Zollinger, your host, reminding you it's a great day for real estate.
The Agent Brew podcast is brought to you by Realtyco. Realtyco is your partner in real estate, bringing you game-changing benefits and services to empower your business. Visit realtyco.com for more information.